Okay.
Power. Jump scare. Hi. Did it scare you? Were you scared yet? My name is Kris Straub. I am. This is a discussion of horror in media. I am known for writing the creepypasta, a term I don't like. The creepypasta Cove, which was developed for sci-fi by NBC Universal for the first season of Channel Zero. What else have I done? I also did Local 58. That's an ongoing series on YouTube. Could be scary for some. And
It might be.
this is a podcast that you, my best friend, Regretta Garbo, if that is not your real name, we've done one episode of it because it's been a bad year for content.
It's been pretty bad all around.
It's been a bad year for society and every construct.
And now everybody's doing podcasts. And so it feels like, are we being derivative? And our whole thing is like, well, horror's derivative of all of the rest of it. So can we even do a podcast? Do we need to subvert podcast? Do a different thing?
I would love to.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. No. And that's what always stops me. And that's a problem with trying to make content while depressed, is that you get an exciting idea and then you know that it's going to be work, and then you just lie down and then you just go sleep.
Yeah. I love sleeping.
Sleep.
Because let's just talk about that.
We could.
I love to sleep. It's my new favorite thing to do. Everybody's like getting into crafting or whatever they're doing. I sleep for like 15 hours a day if I can.
God, that's the dream. I can't do that. A child will wake and be interested in things. And that helps a little bit to see that before it crests and falls again when he's an adolescent. But for now, it's novel. It's entertaining.
The only thing that I started doing in earnest is reading Dune. And that was a big life choice I made, I guess.
You know what? It takes a 20/20 to bring a person there, I think.
Absolutely it does. I'm really enjoying it. When I'm not enjoying it, horror films.
This is so something that we've discussed before, and something that I think, as people interested in horror, but who don't seem to enjoy horror on its merits, or what seem to be its merits. Like, what is it that you and I want from it? And we'll go into specific examples, but yeah, it's tricky.
Also, I think as people, we want, on one level, we both want to be scared, and it's just not happening from horror. But the type of horror that we like, even though it doesn't work in whatever way we want it to work, the type of horror that I like versus the type of horror I'm capable of enjoying, and the type of horror you're capable of enjoying are different.
I want to say that. You go ahead.
I love old slasher movies, and I appreciate them. They're not frightening. They're very bad. They're deeply upsetting in some ways to watch them in the current time that we live in, but there's something comforting about them.
And I can get that.
Or Scream.
Yeah.
You won't watch Scream?
I haven't watched it in earnest. You're right. So I don't, because I don't remember much of it. So all I know is that whenever I see a horror movie that is like, we're going to play with the tropes, we're going to do a meta comment, they don't do it well. I mean, the fact that you stand up for Scream seems to suggest it's...
I really do. I watch it all the time too, though. But it's like, so I would like for you to finally watch it so that we could talk about it if we ever continue during the podcast. So that we can actually talk about
2021.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the podcast now. It's just the panel. So that we could talk about if it's just like, I grew up watching this movie and I decided that I loved this movie, and now I still just like, yes, these are the best. These are the best movies. Don't want to hear anybody tell me any different. It's perfect. And I don't know if that's true anymore, because I know every word and every beat of those movies now, and I'm just like, yeah.
I
This is
think
the greatest.
you've probably, I mean, you saw Scream at a more formative period, right?
Yeah,
Not
I
that
was
it's like,
7.
yeah. So, and not that that means you're dumb, but it's steeped, like you got in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but and for me, who doesn't enjoy anything at this point, like
right.
that's what it's up against. It could be good.
But like I talked about this in one of the other panels. I don't think it was in the recording. It was in one of the other panels about how like when I was a kid I was very afraid of the idea of horror movies.
Yeah, same.
Uh like that the Halloween H2O commercial scared the shit out of me.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was I was 9 when that movie came out. You have to give me my due. It was not a good movie. I know it wasn't a good movie. I know a lot of the Halloween movies aren't good. But I'm sure you haven't even seen it.
Not
So
H2O.
whatever.
Who cares?
Why am I justifying myself to you? But the commercial like would make me cry as a kid. I don't know why.
It's scary.
Um and then I finally watched like the Halloween movies, but the first one that I saw was Halloween 2, and Halloween 2 has the like really punchy synthy version of the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a haunted calliope. It doesn't sound like scary. It sounds like a circus.
Right.
And so I laughed through the entire movie, and I was just like, "This is stupid. Michael Myers isn't anything, and I don't care anymore."
It's not even.
That
It's
was
not
my
like it's.
cat. If anybody saw that,
We saw it earlier too. There was a
she
tail that jumped
she
across.
just jumped right across my face.
Um, let's see. Where there was a leaping on point. Oh, okay, okay. Here, okay. So I have the perfect springboard to our first topic. You saw Scream,
Okay.
and I'm sure, and you saw a lot of
Yes,
movies. It seems like you shouldn't have seen at a young age.
absolutely.
And so the movie that I like to say changed the course of my existence was 2001: A Space Odyssey. Not a horror movie, but all the
Right.
silence and all of the slowness of it, and that feeling of just the humans being this little tiny dot
Yeah.
that will suffocate instantly, and a machine that's
Right.
losing its mind. Like all of this stuff
Yeah.
stayed with me. Um, and here's my segue. I follow. Oh, shoot, what is his name on Twitter? I think it's. I want to say it's Gaily Dreadful, but he does a podcast with. Or they do a podcast with, about horror, and
Mm.
some like watch along, like Netflix parties, which was neat. I came to one where they watched Cam, which is on Netflix, which I thought
Yeah.
was pretty good. I liked it. Um,
Which
but
one is Cam?
Cam is it's where this Cam girl.
Is it the Cam Girl farm thing? She's getting hacked or whatever, and it's a mimic of her. It's that one, right?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. Well, they're giving too
Yep.
much away. Um,
Yep.
that's fine. It's good. Um, oh, okay. The
I
other
liked it.
so that podcast, they're interviewing another person who apparently their life was derailed by having seen 2001 at a young age, and it was the director
Yeah.
of One BR, One Bedroom, which is on
Oh,
Netflix
right.
also. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, well, I mean, I saw the ad for it. I mean, I saw the thing on Netflix for it, and I was like, okay, I don't know. Netflix has like billions of things.
Right.
But this, raises it up in my mind because, like, let's see what this approach is. Uh, I
Yeah.
I
You
can
really
only
did. You really
imagine.
did pitch it. You really did pitch it at me. And I
Hmm.
don't know how rude I'm allowed to be, but I cannot not recommend this movie enough.
I so this is the thing. I
I
don't. It's not about being rude. It's definitely
Yeah.
it's definitely a horror movie on Netflix. Uh,
Right. It's like have you never if you've never seen horror movies before and you want to experience the plot devices and tropes of 86% of them in 90 minutes,
yeah.
we can get it done.
This is
It's a perfect primer.
this is a great movie to teach your class on horror in
Yeah.
film on,
Yeah.
because you don't
If
need
you're
any other.
if you're in a hurry.
If you just got to rush through and you only got 90 minutes to teach this class, you have them write an
Yeah.
essay about this. Didn't like it. So, but this
Didn't care for it.
now we can get into the part where it's like, what is it that we want from it?
Right.
Because I don't know, because I really want to dig into why this movie was, to me, aside from tropes, because we can complain about tropes, but they're effective. That's why people use
Sure.
them all day. But this one just,
But why? So I guess like my question, this is my fundamental like issue with horror, and I need to stop looking everywhere, but I can't. It's how I talk. My like whole problem is, especially you and I, but so does everybody else. The way that you watch horror movies is so you go, now they're gonna do this one. They're gonna do this thing. And you're waiting for them to not do it. And then in one BR, which let's call one bedroom because it's very obnoxious to refer to it that way. And then in one bedroom, it's like, well, now they're gonna do this. And then they do it.
yeah.
Every time. And there are ways where you as a viewer, or like me as a viewer, I'm thinking like, well, it would be really interesting if instead of doing the thing that we know they would typically do in a horror movie, they do something else.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen.
They don't do
And it
anything
just
else.
didn't.
I feel like it's not saying too much to
Yeah.
describe it from a very high and outside non-spoiler standpoint that the movie is
Okay.
about somebody who moves to an apartment complex, which seems
Yeah.
fine until she breaks one of the small rules about an apartment building and then finds out
Yeah.
how bizarre and twisted this community is and what it takes to be a member of it.
Can I see what the Netflix
What the description is? Yeah.
description is? Hold on. Please hold.
You hold, and then
Also, can you hear?
I can't
Can
hear
you hear
anything.
these people screaming?
No.
Okay, because I will close the door if you can hear
No,
everybody
I can't
yelling.
hear anything but your own voice. That's it.
Okay.
But while you look that up,
This is an ad. This
let
is
me
an ad
say,
for AirPods.
If you're gonna be moving into a apartment complex, it's like, ooh, too good to be true. Uh-oh, it looks like there's a lot more problems beneath the surface. It's not a good apartment building at all.
Right.
It
was a bad apartment.
It's bad apartments, and it's just Culver City, whatever. Like, I know a lot of people that live in them. It's fine. But for all the trouble that they go to, what's the draw? What keeps
like for
anybody
all the trouble
there?
that they go to, for all the trouble that they're going to in an attempt to build their ideal community. Ooh, I do want to spoil something though.
We should mention that we're going to spoil it. Can you do it without spoiling?
Because
what the beautiful part is? The beautiful part is this is a panel that people can watch and just pause now and watch the movie.
Yes.
And then come back. And so we'll go 3.
Because I want to talk about the ending.
Okay. Let's just say we're going to blow it out. So don't be spoiled if you want to see it.
I need to talk about literally the ending. Because they do like that, like I said to you after we watched it, they do that the invitation thing where she gets out and she's running away and it's like, oh, it's all of the apartments.
Mm-hmm.
There are way nicer apartment buildings. Like, do you get to then, can you work your way out of the starter building? But those people have been there for years and it doesn't seem like it. It seems like they're the bosses and they live in the worst place. There was like one of those like an apartment building that has estates in the name level of like nice apartment.
Yeah. I think it's like, how do I get into that? When do they have an open house for that?
Yeah. What do I have to do?
Also, given that we have seen, we didn't see a lot more of the people in the apartment other than that modest number of, 9 characters or whatever.
Yeah.
How much turnover
Right.
is there? What is their vetting process actually like? Are there
It seems
tens of
like there's
thousands
no.
of corpses under the building?
Yeah.
That's a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
trouble to go to
Right.
for this conceit.
Okay. This is the description on Netflix.
Thank you.
Seeking her independence, a young woman moves to Los Angeles and settles into a cozy apartment complex with a disturbing sense of community.
Okay. That's a
Like, you
fixer-upper.
just watched the movie. You just watched the movie. It's done.
I would
But it
say,
was like, you go.
oh, I was going to say that one of my issues with it, and this is like, it goes with the idea of this would be a place where a movie would do this. So surely they're not going to do that. Oh, no, they did that.
Right. Oh, no, they did that.
There's a lot of the movie, which I didn't realize going in, and who would, which spends time like psychologically breaking down the main character in a very
Yeah.
specific way that I assumed in this movie would do it like in a number of ways, but instead it's done with
Yeah.
one sledgehammer method that we just sit in for like a half of an
Right.
hour, it felt like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just so much of that
Like, you spend a lot of time before it happens with like creaky doors and whatever, and I didn't see the trailer or anything. You were just like, we will watch this because this guy
I didn't either.
was was also obsessed with 2001, and that was the way that we got there.
If you
Which is
like that
so
movie, you
great.
get a pass from me. But then if you don't deliver, I don't know what to tell you.
But like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and she's at bad job, and we're like, oh, and I'm just like, okay, the nice neighbor, everybody's creepy, but the nice neighbor is going to be like some sort of serial killer. And it's that movie.
Yeah.
He's going to start stalking her, and it's that movie. And then he's the one that attacks her to deliver on that part of like hot neighbor bad. It's like, here's that.
Yeah.
Like, check. Hot neighbor bad. Check.
It's
Don't
right
have a cat.
there.
Check.
It's right there. It's all there.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's sort of like it's a movie that is the moment when like the co-ed thinks that she's safe and she's just settled into bed, and then Jason's machete stabs through her bedroom door and she goes, oh my God. And Jason's hacking at the door and she's freaking out, and Jason is cutting the door down and she's going nuts, and it's 40 minutes of the machete going in and out of the door, cutting the parts of the door off. And I'm wondering why are we spending so much time on this? Yeah, that's a very important part of the horror, but why are we not going anywhere else with it?
Right. It's just like,
it's tough.
Because how long was that scene actually where she's just like,
where she's being broken down in a mean way. It's long. I'm going to go back and see, and it's going to be like 10 minutes, but it feels very long. It's certainly overstayed.
It felt like,
I think maybe that's the issue too, and maybe this is sort of the meta lens through which we unfortunately watch these movies. Is we got it. I have what you're saying. Now what's next? But we spend so much time for the audience to get caught up on what's happening. But I think we all know what's happened here.
Right. And isn't it also, I guess this is very much a matter of opinion, but isn't it also scarier for the viewer to leave a little bit of that out? Like, what if it's just like the first part in the room, and there's like maybe a minute of it, and then jump cuts to lie detector tests, and she's just getting like more and more like fucked up.
Yeah, we would then
that's way scarier to me.
We're experiencing
showing
like
me
every
like her whole work day of like watching people, and like we see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then just do a POV movie. But don't. Right. But also absolutely do not do that.
Not for this premise. No, thank you. Anyway, that's not Not recommended. But then what can I recommend? Oh, okay. Hold on a second. I know where we can go because we were talking about where do we spin it to
Yeah.
positive. So
Yeah.
we were talking about 1BR. Now we're gonna
Yeah.
start to split apart a little bit, diverge where our opinions
Yeah.
differ. Good movie, I think, on Shudder. Also doesn't waste a lot of your time. Host. By now everybody's
Doesn't
seen.
waste your time at all.
Doesn't waste your time. It's only an hour long. It's as long as the Zoom meeting, which is a cool
Yep.
conceit and also keeps it tight. Uh,
Yeah.
and Host, good movie. Host, good movie. Now, from your perspective, didn't do a lot new, is what I'm hearing.
No, it didn't do a lot. It didn't do a lot new. Like I still had like a lot of okay, I get it. I whatever. Not as much as 1BR. Not nearly as much. But like I had some technical issues with the movie that took me out of it.
Right.
There are points in the movie, and this is really hard to just talk about. It's one of those things where like go back and watch it again and you'll see what I'm talking about. But there are points in the movie where a character's video feed switches from laptop to phone seemingly with no explanation.
Right.
Like it is very clear that this character, what was her name?
Zobi.
Rip.
No, there's none. I don't know any of the characters' names.
Life Water. The one who goes in the attic, because that's when it happens. Whatever her
was
name
it Caroline, maybe?
is. That Caroline?
That might have been that one.
I think I have host up so that I can do this.
Whoever goes in the attic. There's only one character that does it.
Yeah, it was Caroline.
Okay.
Like when she's going, you hear her I can't do it obviously because we're recording a thing, but you hear her unplug all of her things and like undock her laptop,
right.
which she then carries like a laptop to the attic, and then she lays it down. Can I do this?
Don't lay it down.
I don't think
but
I'll fuck anything up.
No. As one would lay down a phone.
No.
Because now the camera's facing straight up on the ceiling.
It's facing straight up, but that still felt like she put her laptop like that to show that she heard the thing.
Oh,
I was giving them that, like how I don't remember anyone's name. The girl that it's her idea.
Crambler.
Shambless.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Nope. Let me do it.
Go ahead and
it's
look,
bad to not know then.
So another one which
Haley.
Okay.
Like when Haley was, oh shit, I heard something, and she was carrying her laptop with the camera out.
Yes.
I thought I was giving them that Caroline had laid her laptop down with the screen on the floor,
so we could all see up
so
there,
that she could show the attic, and then all of a sudden she picks it up and she's showing the ladder. And it's very clear that she's using a phone. Yeah. And there's just no, and she ran and got a selfie stick. And it's just like, I don't.
That's right. You couldn't put a laptop on a selfie stick was the big chunk.
That took me way out of it.
So I didn't notice that.
Right.
But one of the things that I did notice, because it's obvious and it happens in the very beginning, but I'm like, I accept it because I feel like it's a short movie and we're trying to get around some of these devices. In the very beginning of the movie, she hears a sound and she's investigating, and she's holding her laptop inexplicably outward to show nobody, because nobody's on the call yet.
Yeah.
To show no one what she's looking at.
She was cheating out for nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But given that where we spend time in this movie and how quick it is, I felt like, okay, I can overlook this.
Like I noticed that, and I was like, this is where we have very different opinions. That was how that happened in the beginning, and I was like, is the whole movie gonna be people coming up with reasons to cheat out their camera or not coming up with them, and we just have to ignore that they're cheating out their camera because she's doing it for nobody. Right. I immediately went, like I got a little upset because that's just how I want to like everything so much, and it's just I get a little disappointed in it, and I'm like ruined.
Well, you hear good things. Host is a brisk ride. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like a lot of the conceits. I mean, they're not new or like,
Right.
oh, mind blowing, but it's like, yeah, okay, ghost, sure. I don't
Yeah.
like a ghost.
Yeah, you kind of know you can paint that picture very fast on your own, but not in a bad way, like not in the same way.
Yeah.
Um I have a love hate, and this is really interesting. I'm like, I wish they would have taken 30 more seconds with this trope. I loved Salem and all of the mystic psychic from Poltergeist bullshit that she was spewing, and I was just like, just give me a little. We only really got a taste, and I was like, but that's that good stuff in a horror movie that I will allow.
That's
And then
it.
so I was just like, I wanted a little bit more of it,
It's
even
fun.
though the movie was so short.
It's fun because you can hear like she believes in it and she cares about this thing and she's done a lot of
Yes.
these and she is trying to like navigate these youths
Yeah.
through what is
Also,
like
because
what
she
could be
said,
dangerous. But she's like, no, don't worry.
yeah, she's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, don't worry. I've never done one of these on Zoom, but same difference. I'm sure
Right.
it's fine.
Yeah,
Like
and
I was
we're all
kind of like,
looking for the ways that
how much are you getting paid? Because you seem a little too comfortable with not having done this before, and you're just like, okay, everybody light the candles, and
right.
if you get scared, just imagine ropes.
And it's
Like
not
I don't
comforting. Yeah, I like that a lot.
know.
I like these devices. Like, just imagine a comforting rope around your neck that's pulling you back
Mhm.
to your home. I was like, no, I don't like that.
Just yanking you off the
Just
stage.
pull the rope as hard as you can. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So like, host good. I recommend. Um, contrast that one with
Well, I was
which
gonna
one was
say
it?
no.
Bring
I
us
can do this. I can do this better. I can do this segue better.
do it better.
Because even though host was an hour long or 70 minutes long or however long it was, it still had the same issue that movies that use this like video chat conceit have, um, which that one is friend request. No, that one is unfriended.
Unfriended. Friend
That
request
one is
is
unfriended.
sucks.
The face is the Facebook movie, and it's trash.
It's very bad.
But unfriended and host have the same problem where there are enough characters that there is one character that's just sitting down in the bottom bar, just staring at stuff and just kind of hanging out and not reacting when a bunch of like spooky shit is going on. Like in I think almost in host more than in unfriended, Radina is so disinterested in the movie.
She's hanging out until
Like
we
she's
need
not
her.
there. She's just like,
She's
and
not
in unfriended,
concerned and
it's
quiet. She's just
yeah. She just looks. She's just not. She's kind of just like,
she's down low.
and like the glass is breaking and people are moving around and everybody's screaming and she's going, hey, has anybody seen my boyfriend? All of a sudden she perks up and she's like, my line now.
Right.
And that's in Unfriended. It's the same thing with the main character's like boyfriend. He doesn't do anything, and it's really, and he doesn't do anything because for the entire movie they're also texting each other.
I just had a sudden jolt which said, is this a good panel? Are we just assholes? Hey, let's talk about horror. It's all bad. None of it is
It's all
recommendable.
bad.
I originally gave Unfriended more
We're
credit.
just not talking about good. We're just not talking about good movies this time.
Let's try and get there.
I'm having fun.
I'm enjoying it. I just don't know if it's fun for anybody else. No, I gave Unfriended credit because it really does adhere to the like. Oh, there's multiple windows and she's using them
Right.
in most of the ways that make sense.
Right,
But
and I think it was.
oh,
I
but
think it was because I hadn't seen it in so long. You
yeah,
go.
I was gonna
can't.
say
There's too many.
that's the place where Host outstrips it because
Yeah.
Host is shorter and like Unfriended does spend time on. Well, it would take time for them to reconnect. It would take time for her to look this thing up. And so as a
Yeah.
result, you're kind of are like, oh, well, I'm ready for the next thing to show up. At the time, the first
Right.
time I saw it, I was like, oh, I like that we're sitting in these spaces while she's searching for something or she's texting somebody else.
But it
But
turns out when you revisit it, you're sitting in those spaces for a really long time, and all you're hearing is clicking and
yeah,
the keyboard noises and clicking.
it's a
And it
movie,
doesn't,
be fun to make it, but
yes,
then show it and then somebody watching it be like, I could cut this out. But to make it and make it
yeah.
seem real, I
It has the
feel good.
same, it has the same like technical. We were talking about this. There are points where I'm like, well, did she mute their audio? Like, I
Right.
don't, are they? And then all of a sudden they just start yelling for her and she clicks back into it. It doesn't make sense because she's seeing all this spooky shit and she's not reacting to it out loud.
And they do a similar
So
goof, little spook in Host, which I thought was way
yeah,
more effective, like super effective.
yeah, yes,
Um, and they give you, and Host gives you like all of the, and because it's so rapid, like they had to, it gives you all of
right,
the beats of using this technology, all of the devices of, oh, this is what to expect, this is what to expect, this is what to expect.
right,
Then break each
right,
one in turn,
yeah,
which I very much enjoyed.
yeah,
Let's move to a thing that we may not have enough time. We could do a podcast about this alone. Let's talk about good horror. Let's talk about something that the fact that I like it, does it place it outside of the realm of horror? But I enjoyed
yeah.
watching the first 2 seasons of Hannibal so
Don't
much.
do this to me on a panel. I can't.
Is this a bad time for this? You have
Mhm.
very special
Mhm.
feelings about this program.
Yeah.
And I am
Yeah.
now having
This is
seen 2/3 of it, I understand. Yes, you have. That's not even the only tattoo of Hannibal you have,
no. That's one of three of them.
and I understand. And a fourth
I
impending.
um. And a fourth is coming once I figure out where to put it. Maybe on the back of my neck. Anyway,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't. Well, this is like I feel like why I'm saying don't do this to me right now isn't just because we're talking about Hannibal because I can do that for a very long time.
Is it because
But
of the whiplash of talking about bad things and then suddenly like,
no, totally different.
hmm,
Um, I think when you talk about like television horror, you're talking about something completely different from film.
sure,
Like it has to it at the same time it has to deliver a lot of different things, but it can deliver so many different things and so much more slowly.
right, right.
That I don't know like there's no comparison between the two things.
That
I don't think.
that's fair. Yes,
But like so let's instead of just talking about Hannibal, because I don't think I can do it.
I'll do it. But instead of that, what are you
What are
saying?
what is another it's non-American Horror Story. We're not talking about American Horror Story
Well,
again.
like an
But like
anthology
what
type show?
no. But what is another horror television show that is not an anthology television show? How about that?
That's
Like
impossible to
name
do.
one. If you're trying to consider Hannibal horror, which I guess I could get there. I guess.
Let me tell you
Um
where the horror comes from for me.
mhm.
But because it's not out and out horror, why I
Yeah.
appreciate it so much, I very much like exploring these people that have
Right.
orthogonal thought patterns that cannot be mimicked by the general public,
Right.
that are then able to find each other and
Yeah.
and play with each other and be interested in each other,
Yes.
and the treatment of these concepts as, you know, meaningful artistic statements, which, you know,
As and presence.
And gifts, yes. Like there
Yeah.
is, I think it's fascinating, and I like spending time with them because we spend time with them and inside them.
Right.
We don't spend
Yeah.
time with the cop who's going, this sicko did this thing. We spend time with
I
the
mean, that's Jack Crawford.
we
Don't
spend
get me
time with him
started.
too. There has to be somebody. Otherwise it's just a Tumblr. It's just a fucking AO3.
Are you talking about my blog? Are you talking about my Hannibal blog?
No,
It's just a
because
bunch
your
of
blog doesn't
it's a
have
bunch of
characters.
it's just a bunch of murderers drawing pictures of each other's murders and sending them to each other.
That's the show Hannibal.
Yeah.
No, that's where I appreciate it. Is because we get to spend so much time with that idea, to the point where I don't know. I worry about being a sociopath sometimes. I can't be,
Sure.
but
Right. You're not.
I'm not.
I'm much closer than you are.
That may very well be true.
Because I was just about to say something that absolutely a sociopath would say. And I'm like, well,
Say
you
it.
are presuming that Hannibal is a horror because of all the grotesque murders, but are murderers
Go ahead.
like
Just
implicitly horrific in nature? Is that what we're saying? And I'm not saying murderers are cool. I'm saying, are they always scary? Is that
you
always
wanna
meant
try
to be
and out
scary?
sociopath me on this front?
No, I'm not
I
trying
will
to. I'm
go
not. This
beat
isn't a
for
race.
beat on this until we are both arrested.
Yeah, yeah. That's the problem.
Um,
That's the problem. This is the real snuff.biz where we just ruin each other's lives by
it's like, and then I'm being arrested.
talking about
Why
how
am I being
cool murders
arrested?
are. What did I do?
There's a story
What is
by
this?
what opened my eyes to some of this a long time ago. There's a short story by I never know how to pronounce his last name, Robert Heinlein. Uh,
Okay,
I think it's Heinlein, but it's called
I think
Null
it's
O.
Hyman.
It's
Okay.
called, which is a very 50s name for a story, but it is about
Yeah.
a like a subspecies of humans that evolve and that look like humans are fine, but for whatever reason they
Hmm.
cannot think the same way that people think,
Okay.
and they are, among other things, like they are driven by the idea that um, considering everything to be a separate object is incorrect, and that the true and
Okay.
good final state of the universe is for everything to be one thing, and that they would attempt to
Hmm.
bring that about. But also, they cannot think in terms of, I don't know, just like social play and things like that. But like one of the descriptions was,
Yeah.
uh, one of them went to see a psychologist and was talking about being pressed into playing baseball. And they said, you know, they hand me a bat, and I stand at home base, and the pitcher is going to throw a ball at me. So naturally, the recourse is to go to the pitcher and hit him with the bat, obviously,
Yeah.
and like incapable of understanding a game,
Right.
suspending that, and
Yeah.
just like, no, like this is what you do is you hit them like that. That's
Hmm.
just how they think, and there's no way around it. There's
Yeah.
no way outside of it, and it makes such sense. It's not like, wow, how can you not?
Yeah.
No, I yes, of course, that takes a lot.
He's trying to hit me. He has a weapon. I have a weapon. Let's go.
To me, so that was something I came upon later. The scary thing to me when I read it the first
Yeah.
time was the idea that I hand you a bat, and outside of whether or not you get hit with a ball, the correct thing to do was to hit
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a
Yeah.
thought that I can't figure out, like where that logic brings that in for
Sure.
you, and it's very testable and provable. I wish I
Yeah.
understood the system, but I don't contain it. But they do,
Yeah.
and I believe
Yeah.
that they do. And such awful things can come out of that.
But also it's very cool. Like the beehive episode, the best episode maybe of Hannibal ever.
Oh yeah,
Are those bees?
yeah. What now? See,
You are just a device, and I haven't seen it yet in this rewatch. It's been
okay,
years.
yeah. No,
Um,
it's a great one. It's delicious.
yeah,
But the idea of a person parsing a situation what we would believe in this society incorrectly,
Right.
incompatible with functioning
Yes.
inside of a society. But to then get drawn in by the logic of it and say, yes, I understand
Right.
this. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see why you would think
Yeah, I
that.
get it. Right.
And especially because in polite society, you would have to say, oh, it's unconscionable.
It's terrible.
When in fact,
Yeah, but
it's kind of
I
conscionable.
wouldn't do that. Hmm.
Yeah. I don't want to go to jail,
I
but I get it. Uh, I can say that. I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, but like you would,
Anybody
right?
would,
Right?
obviously. Yeah, of course I would.
Right?
The bee
Right,
one,
guys?
yes. That's barely me doing it. It's just bees. I just gotta
Yeah, the
find the
bees
bees.
did. The bees did it.
You were talking about other shows that fit the horror thing. I would say any of the Channel
Yeah.
Zero seasons. That's the only one that comes to
Right,
mind.
but that's still anthology. Like
Yeah.
has there been a long form attempt? And I
don't
can't think
so.
of one. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm like it's like butting against the idea of Hannibal being horror. I don't know why.
Well, it's certainly like it's like
I'm
horror
like because
plus.
it can't happen.
It has to
Yeah,
it has to do more work.
yeah.
Because
Because I'm
yeah.
like just doing a beautiful murder over here every episode. That's a crime procedural.
Yeah.
Hannibal at its core in my brain is a crime procedural that's just really bad at being procedural.
Interesting. I think
Yeah.
Hannibal at its core is horror that has to adopt the cloak of procedural so it can get on TV.
Well, let's talk to Brian Fuller. He talked to me once on Twitter. We both made a joke about having sex with the Chantix turkey.
That's
so
cool.
Now we're friends.
That's a sociopath method. I know both. I can talk to Don Mancini and Nick Antosca if I want. They worked on Candle Cove, then they worked on Hannibal.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm climbing
We
there.
can figure it out.
Maybe what I'll
Let's
do
get
first
in there.
though, I'll watch Child's Play and then not like it, and then I'll feel.
Which one? The new one?
No, the one that he made, the Child's Play, the children's play.
You have not seen?
I haven't seen that one. No, I have not seen any of those. Not a drop.
You have to, because I've told you about this before. The new Chucky stuff.
Yeah.
Like not the new movie, but the new stuff they were coming out with on Netflix,
like Cult of Chucky and stuff
Cult
like that.
of Chucky.
Right.
Yeah. It's so off the wall and so fun and good and just bizarre what they're doing with like the lore. I love it. I can't get enough of it.
And like Child's
Play was not my bag.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so interesting. It's like it's good.
Ah, darn it.
And then I tried to watch the new Child's Play and I didn't finish it. Is how I felt about it.
Real fast. Now that I think we're getting toward the end here. Well, no, we got like 6 minutes. Okay. So it's not going to be real fast. New Scream 2021. Why? What do you think?
You gotta say it again because you got all cut out. You got all choppy. You're back.
I guess they're remaking Scream or redoing it, or some Screams. There'll be more screaming.
Is it a remake or is it Scream 5? Because I heard it was 5. Scream 5.
Maybe it's 5. The way that it was presented visually, I thought it was going to be a remake, but maybe it's 5.
Yeah, I think it is Scream 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point, and this is going to be something that you won't really understand because you haven't watched the Scream movies, and even in explaining this to you, you will hate this meta bullshit so much. Like I'm going to be able to like see it on your face.
It should be right up my alley, but I don't ever like it. But okay.
But the way that like Scream 4 did some stuff that just like it was fine, but it was a little too like fun for me. And at this point, I would rather Especially if this is going to be a continuation of Sydney's story, leave Sydney alone. Like, she's done. She's been through too much. Nev Campbell has been through too much.
Yeah.
Like, just let her live.
Okay.
Please. But I think what would be really interesting. So in the Scream universe, Gail Weathers, who's Courtney Cox's character, wrote a book and a movie about the first murders. So they turned them into horror movies. Those movies are called Stab. In universe, there are now 9 Stab movies because Scream 4 opens. It's a cold open where it's you have to watch the first 5 minutes of Scream 4, but just the first 5 minutes because I think it's really funny. So they're on Stab 9 now. I think let's just start making the Stab movies.
Oh, I see.
Because they look off the wall, and I would love to get in there with them starting from the beginning, Stab 1, like remake Scream, but remake it as if it was real and you are now sensationalizing it in a film.
Yes.
Do it.
I appreciate that. Like, no, I get that.
I would love to see Stab instead of Scream 5, I think, at this point.
Yeah. I think that maybe there's
it would be so much fun.
There's an appeal, like, I want to make a great horror movie like the ones that I loved when I was young, and it's got these beats that I want to hit because we enjoy that.
Right.
But again, like, as somebody making it, it's fun to make and pay homage. But as a viewer, I'm like, no, I saw that already. I saw that one. I don't need to see that again.
You saw that movie.
I want to see the ones where they rotate everything and confuse me.
Right.
And break me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah. Yeah. But what would scare us? We don't have enough time for this. What is in a movie? All we want is to be scared.
I just want to get scared, and I'm not scared yet. .org. No, I don't own that. Don't go there. I don't know.
You better get it.
I think maybe what I have to live with is like the deconstruction of these sort of interesting ideas, like the presentation of them.
Yeah.
Because, and this always comes up, but like a good movie that's scary, I never go, oh, startled. I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, this is good. Yeah. What are they going to do with this?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's where it lives. It's never scary.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Okay, so then I guess I agree with that. But then so if that's our whole thing, if we're just going, we'll never be scared. Now our journey is, how do we not be assholes when we talk about horror movies?
This is the good part.
What do we do?
And this is, I'm sure there's a distinction between sociopath and elitist, but I don't care.
Yes,
you know what? I wish I didn't have to be an asshole about it. I wish I could just sit there and enjoy these dumb movies, like so many others. We're like, oh my gosh,
just like all the rest of you.
The knife went in there. Yeah, of course. Who cares? God.
No, don't go up there. Don't. I want to feel that. I just want to feel that.
I've not felt it.
I just want to feel that one time.
Do you have to be young to feel it? I remember feeling it before.
No.
I felt it before.
I don't think that's it.
But it didn't come back.
The guy that was yelling the whole time that one viewing of the Mothman Prophecies, he was not young. He was probably in his 30s.
He had a young mind.
He was loving that movie.
He had a young mind.
He was loving that movie. Not that I dislike the Mothman Prophecies. I like the Mothman Prophecies. But he was just having a rip-roaring time in that theater.
I'll
never forget it.
I went with my brother to see, not horror, I went with him to see the movie Mission to Mars, which is a dumb and awful movie. And we went and were laughing and making fun of it in a mostly empty theater. And people threw popcorn at us to silence us because we were ruining their enjoyment of Mission to Mars.
They were in the moment.
They were there on the mission. And they wanted to see Jerry O'Connell, and I think Tim Robbins maybe, and
Tim Robbins.
I think so, briefly.
Okay. All right.
And that's it. It's just a good movie about space and heroes and M&Ms and Dr. Pepper product placement, and
I have no idea what this movie is about. So it's just like an Apollo. It's like an Armageddon.
It's like budget, The Martian.
Okay.
But there's product placement, and it's dumb, and who cares?
Yeah.
And it's just
I love
bounces off of my mind
movie,
like it's radar beams on a stealth bomber. Like it left no impression.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I was
there was
looking
no
at it
movie there.
and I heard it, but I didn't see it. It's not in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of movies.
If a murder occurred in the theater, if the movie killed somebody, it's getting off because I cannot identify it in the lineup. I don't know what I saw. It's good. It's good.
I think Jerry O'Connell committed a murder.
I think he did.
I think he did it.
This is it, I guess. We're at time now. So I appreciate...
We did it.
We did a panel, and it felt right.
And it felt good.
And it's normal, and it is nice. And it is live, I might add. Not pre-recorded.
And it is live, and I hope you all understand that you shouldn't be mad at us. You have bad opinions.
It's not about even a bad opinion. It's that they sit on an axis beneath us, and
that's what it is. We really are going there. We're going there. Okay. Yeah. It's just that we have a higher taste level.
It's not my fault. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So maybe look inward.
I can't. I refuse to. There's nothing there for me to learn. I already contain it all. Where can we find you? What are your projects? You can.
I don't have projects unless Kris and I record podcasts. You can find me on twitter.com. I'm Regretta Garbo. I talk a lot about Star Trek and protests. That's basically what I do right now.
We're in the protest space. I think it's a valuable piece of work.
We're in a protest zone right now. And this is my Instagram if you care about it.
If you want to look at
that's all.
The same picture you take over.
If you want to look at.
And if you want to find
the same picture.
And if you would like to hear the other episode we did of this, and maybe someday more, maybe
someday.
You can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Kris Straub, and you don't even have to buy into it. It's just there. You can listen to it. Just giving it away.
It's just there. We're giving it away. Just like this one.
We couldn't pay you to take it off our hands. Thanks, everybody.
But if you want to pay us.
It could happen. Yeah. And I would love, after this panel airs, I would love everybody to tweet at me and you, and I'll answer more questions. Or if you have suggestions, my God, please. That would be great.
Yeah.
Please tell us what to do.
But not baby suggestions, not movies that everybody has seen.
No.
Please don't. We've already established don't condescend to us. Give us the weird stuff.
No, let us condescend. That's our job.
Yeah, that's where we sit. You should watch Antrim. We hated Antrim.
Don't
How
like
about
Antrim.
that?
God, it should have been good. God, I should have loved Antrim.
Been good.
I'm going to remake Antrim, a good Antrim.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's hire some kids.
We'll get some kids. We'll do a real movie.
We're going to do a real movie.
It's easy. I don't need money. Bye.
Same. Bye-bye.